You don't think it's going to be you. You hear stories. Some guy finds text on his girlfriend's phone. Another walks in on his fiancée with the neighbor during Wheel of Fortune. And you think, per guy, glad that's not me. But then you open the glove compartment of your 2012 Toyota Camry, and suddenly it is. Let me back up. Her name is Ella, my wife. We've been married for 5 years, together for 7. I met her at a trivia night hosted by a bar that had more mice than patrons, but she had this competitive edge, the kind that makes people yell about who invented the toaster. I like that. I liked her. We got married in a small ceremony by a lake that smelled faintly of dead fish, but it was charming. She laughed when I tripped on the dock during our vows. That was Ella, never took life too seriously. And my best friend Peter? He was the best man. We went to college together. He once ate 6 pints of Ben and Jerry's during finals week and cried watching The Notebook. I was the one who held his hair back while he puked rainbow sherbet. That's brotherhood, you know? I trusted them both. I really did. Then, about 2 weeks ago, Ella started acting weird. Not suspicious in the classic way. There were no secretive texts, no perfume that didn't belong. No, she got overly nice. Like she was trying out for a role in a toothpaste commercial. She started folding my socks. She never folded socks. She started baking. She once told me flour was a scam invented by gluten. So yeah, things got weird. But it didn't really hit until the glove compartment. I remember that because I had just bought a gas station egg salad sandwich and was already questioning my life choices. I reached into the glove compartment to grab napkins, and that's when I saw it. A condom. Not a box, just one, alone, like it had been strategically planted. Like a weird little landmine wrapped in latex. We don't use condoms. Haven't since 2019. We're married. She's on the pill. I have anxiety. We're careful. So I stared at it, sitting there next to my car manual and expired Taco Bell hot sauce packets, like it was a magic trick. My first thought was, did I win this in a cereal box? My second, who put this here? I took it inside and set it on the counter like it was evidence from a crime scene. She came home an hour later, holding a pineapple and a baguette. That's not important to the story, but it felt symbolic. Who buys a pineapple on a Tuesday? I pointed to the condom. What's this? She looked at it, blinked once, and said, that's not mine. I said, I didn't think it was. So whose is it? She said, maybe it's yours. And I said, why would I hide my own condom in my own glove compartment like I'm cheating on myself? And then she paused. That pause, the 3 seconds of silence where her face tried to decide what lie to wear. And she chose the worst one. I was holding it for Peter. Yeah, Peter. At this point, I thought I'd fallen into a sketch comedy show. Holding it for Peter? What is he, 12? Is she a sexual Girl Scout, handing out protection like cookies? I didn't say anything. I just nodded and said, okay, let's call him. You should have seen her face. Her pupils dilated like a deer in a headlights in a solar eclipse. She looked like I just suggested we host an orgy for my parents' anniversary. She tried to pivot. Said Peter had been going through things. That she was helping him. That the condom might have accidentally fallen into my glove compartment when she borrowed the car, which she hadn't, not since January when she scraped it against a mailbox and blamed squirrels. So I called Peter. I put him on speaker. I said, hey man, random question. Did you put a condom in my glove compartment? And this absolute buffoon says, oh no, did Ella leave that in there? Boom. Silence. He realized what he said. I realized what he said. Ella walked into the pantry and closed the door like it was a portal to a better dimension. Turns out, they'd been helping each other for about 3 months. My car was their rendezvous spot. My Camry. I drove to work every day in the same seat were they. Anyway, I asked Peter why. Why betray a 20-year friendship? Why ruin a marriage over glove box sex? He said, and I quote, it just kind of happened, man. We were both sad. You were working late. And she made lasagna. Lasagna. I lost my wife, my best friend, and my dignity because of pasta. You know what's the most absurd part? I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just took the condom, unwrapped it, and filled it with water like a balloon. Then I tied it shut, held it up, and said, "Congratulations. You too made this mess. You can clean it up." Then I moved out. And now, every time someone asks me why I'm single, I tell them, because of lasagna, and a condom, in a glove compartment. There's a moment in every man's life when he realizes he's the punchline to a joke no one warned him was being told. Mine came in the form of a condom, one condom, sitting in my glove compartment like it belonged there, like it paid rent. You don't think your wife is going to cheat on you. Not with your best friend, not in your car. But life has a way of turning into a bad sitcom without a laugh track. People always ask how I found out. They expect something dramatic, maybe a lipstick-stained collar, maybe a caught-in-the-act kind of moment. But no, I found out the way I find most things in life accidentally while looking for napkins. This story isn't glamorous. It's not even tragic in a romantic way. It's just stupid, absurd. A slow unraveling of everything I thought I understood about trust, love, and friendship. One tiny detail at a time. So if you're here for some kind of emotional redemption story, look elsewhere. This is a confession, not a recovery manual. A man can only process so much when his marriage dissolves somewhere between a Wawa parking lot and a pack of Trojan Ultra Thins. What follows is how I found out. All of it. Every bizarre, ridiculous, uncomfortable detail. There was a time I would have sworn Ella and I were the kind of couple people envied. We had that ease, the kind of chemistry that doesn't come from sparks or drama, but from the quiet routines you don't even realize you've built. Saturday mornings meant coffee on the back porch. She liked hers scalding hot with too much sugar. I drank mine cold, always forgetting it somewhere. She'd tease me about it. "How can you live like this?" And I'd tell her I was conserving heat like a responsible citizen. We laughed a lot. Real, stupid, gut-level laughter. The kind that sneaks up on you in the middle of brushing your teeth or folding laundry. We were good at the small things. Grocery shopping together turned into date nights. She'd sit in the cart like a child until someone gave us a dirty look. Then she'd stand up like nothing happened. I have a picture somewhere. She's got a box of spaghetti on her head like a crown. That was Ella. Ridiculous, charming, impossible not to love. Peter was always around too. It made sense. He and I went way back. Roommates in college, groomsmen at each other's weddings, co-owners of a broken-down pool table in my basement that we swore we'd refinish one day. Ella and Peter got along naturally. Too naturally, in hindsight, but back then I thought it was perfect. My wife and my best friend liked each other. Isn't that supposed to be the dream? We had inside jokes, shared playlists. She'd send me voice memos during her commute, narrating her day, complaining about traffic, singing off-key. I saved a bunch of them. Haven't listened in a while, but they're still in my phone. A few times, when I forgot lunch, she'd drive all the way to my office just to bring me a sandwich and a kiss on the forehead. She called it emergency husband maintenance. I'd catch her looking at me sometimes like she knew something I didn't. And not in a suspicious way back then. It felt like love. Like awe. Like she couldn't believe we ended up in the same place at the same time. And honestly, I couldn't either. She was sharper than me. Funnier. Her brain moved faster. I always said if Ella ever wanted to take over the world, she could do it with a smile and a clipboard. We had plans, too. We were trying, not actively, not aggressively, but we were open to kids. We talk about names. She liked weird ones. Clover, Rain, Jupiter. I leaned traditional. Sam, Max, Grace. We'd laugh about how we'd compromise. We never did pick a middle ground. The truth is, I trusted her. Not in a casual, surface-level way. I trusted her with the softest parts of me, the ones I kept from everyone else. I could be awkward, moody, too much in my head. She never made me feel like that was a burden. If anything, she seemed to love me more for it. We had a life. A good one. And that's the part that still pisses me off. Because betrayal, when it comes from a distance, is just pain. But when it comes from inside, from your safe place, it's not just pain. It's disorientation. Like you've been living in a movie set the whole time and someone just tore down the walls to show you it was all plywood. You start replaying things. You start remembering every touch, every word, every Tuesday night watching The Office reruns, wondering, was that real? Or were they laughing at me while I sat between them on the couch? It's not just the betrayal that haunts you. It's the sweetness that came before it. Because you realize the life you loved was a setup for the punchline. And I never saw it coming. I wasn't looking for anything. That's what makes it worse. I was driving home from work, minding my own business, half listening to a podcast about conspiracy theories involving IKEA furniture. Don't ask. I was eating bought a gas station egg salad sandwich and was already questioning my life choices. My hands were greasy, and I reached over to the glove compartment to find napkins. That was it. That's all I was doing. Just looking for napkins. And that's when I found it. A condom. A single, unboxed condom, sitting there like it had something to say. Like it had been waiting to be discovered. Like it wanted to be found. At first, I froze. Then I blinked, because I thought maybe I imagined it. You ever stare at something long enough that your brain just starts making up new versions of reality? That's what I did. I thought maybe it was a receipt, or a candy wrapper, or one of those mini shampoo samples she steals from hotels. But no, it was a condom, gold foil, untouched, taunting me. And I sat there for a full minute just breathing. The inside of the car felt like it had changed shape. The air was heavier, the seatbelt tighter, my skin itchy with panic. Because we didn't use condoms. Not for years. We were married, on the pill, monogamous, comfortable, trusting. I took it inside. I didn't even touch it directly. I used a napkin, like I was picking up biohazard material. I put it on the kitchen counter and just stared at it, like it might explain itself. Ella came home an hour later, talking on the phone, laughing, holding a pineapple and a baguette. That's not important to the story, but it felt symbolic. Who buys a pineapple on a Tuesday? She saw me, smiled, then saw the condom, and her face cracked for half a second before she pulled it back together. Like someone rearranging their expression mid-thought. What's that? She asked. I didn't speak. I just pointed. She said, that's not mine. I said, I know. It's not mine either. Then she did something fascinating. She tried to gaslight reality. Well, maybe it came with the car. We've had the car for 6 years. It's probably from before we were together. It was a brand they don't even sell anymore. Maybe Peter left it? And there it was. Peter. Like his name had been waiting under her tongue, waiting for the moment it could jump out and slap me across the face. Peter. I said. She nodded. He borrowed the car last week, remember? No, I didn't remember. Because it never happened. I drive the car. Every day. It's practically an extension of my body. I know every rattle, every stain, every loose gum wrapper. But I played along. Interesting, I said. Let's call him. She froze. No, she said. He's probably busy. I was already dialing. Now, let me paint this moment for you. I'm standing in the kitchen, holding my phone in one hand and the condom in the other, like a very sad, very confused game show host. Ella is gripping the edge of the counter so hard her knuckles are white. The pineapple is still sitting in the grocery bag like a witness to a crime. Peter picks up. Hey man, what's up? Quick question, I said, casually, like we were talking about football. Did you leave a condom in my glove compartment? There was a pause. A long, gurgling silence, like he swallowed his own name. Then he said, and I quote, "Oh no, did Ella leave that there?" That's when the world stopped. He didn't say I. He didn't say maybe. He didn't say what condom. He said, "Did Ella leave that there?" Ella went pale. I watched the blood drain from her face like it had somewhere better to be. I didn't say anything. Neither did she. I hung up the phone, slowly, carefully, like I was afraid it might explode. And then I asked, "How long?" She didn't answer. So I asked again, "How long have you been sleeping with him?" Still nothing. Third time's the charm. "Ella, how long have you been fucking my best friend in my car?" She started crying. Big, wet, gasping sobs like that would somehow rehydrate the truth. But I didn't flinch. I just stood there, looking at her like she was a stranger who'd just wandered into my life wearing my wife's skin. She confessed in pieces, like peeling an onion with a spoon. They started talking a few months ago, when I was pulling long hours, when I was emotionally unavailable, when Peter needed someone. They connected. One thing led to another. You know the line. But the worst part? The part that still crawls under my skin at night? She said it wasn't planned. Like she tripped and fell onto his dick. Like the betrayal that detonated my marriage was some kind of logistical error. I walked out. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't slam a door. I just left. I drove around for hours. Ended up at a gas station, bought a hot dog I didn't eat, and stared into the windshield like it might offer me answers. And the next day, I called a locksmith. Changed the locks. Told her not to come back. Because when your best friend and your wife use your car as a mobile affair unit and leave behind evidence like a calling card, the least you can do is reclaim your front door. That was the day I stopped asking questions. Now, I just tell the story. Because sometimes the only power you have left is the punchline. You don't see it at first. That's the sick joke. You think you're living your life, brushing your teeth next to someone who loves you, while behind your back they're staging a second life. And not a glamorous double life, either. A stupid one. A sloppy, sweat-stained, motel room, back seat of a car life. One built on harmless secrets and tiny omissions that pile up like receipts in a drawer you never open. Until one day, it jams and won't shut. After the condom incident, things unraveled fast. It was like yanking a thread on a sweater. Once it starts, you're screwed. I started thinking about all the times she ran errands. Ella liked to go out alone. Grocery store, she'd say. Yoga class. Target run. And I, the trusting idiot, would nod and say, take your time. But she wasn't at Target. She wasn't buying overpriced throw pillows or kale chips. She was with him. With Peter. There was one time I remembered clearly. She came back home flustered, her hair damp, wearing a different shirt than when she left. I asked about it. She laughed and said she spilled coffee on herself. I believed her. Because why wouldn't I? Now I know. That shirt wasn't changed because of coffee. It was changed because Peter sweats like a warthog and my wife, apparently, enjoyed the experience enough to come back smelling like Old Spice and betrayal. There were text messages, too. Deleted. But not smartly. She forgot that iCloud backs things up. I saw them when I finally got into her iPad. Not nudes. God, I wish it had been nudes. Those at least are direct. What I found was worse. Cute, flirty, carrying messages. Stuff like, you always know how to make me laugh. I wish I was with you right now. He doesn't notice the little things like you do. I feel more like me when I'm with you. I read that 10 times. More like me. So who the hell was she with me? I found a playlist on her Spotify called Tuesday Rain. Seemed innocent. Until I realized every Tuesday for the past 2 months, she came home an hour later than usual. She said traffic. Turns out, Tuesday Rain was code for afternoons at a roadside motel halfway between our house and Peter's office. She had a whole routine. She'd leave the house with a gym bag. Tell me she was going to hot yoga. She'd even come back with a rolled-up mat and damp hair. She really committed to the role. I bet she even Googled yoga poses to get the sweat pattern right. Meanwhile, Peter, my best friend, was borrowing my cologne. I found it once in his glove box. He said he liked the smell. It reminds me of you. Yeah, it reminded both of them of me. While they were in my car. Probably parked behind the bowling alley, listening to our playlist and laughing about how clueless I was. And the gifts. God, the gifts. I thought I was a good husband. Thought I was observant. But I started noticing things. New earrings, a necklace, a silk scarf she claimed she found on sale. Except it wasn't from any store we shopped at. One night, I spotted a receipt in her coat pocket. A boutique in Peter's neighborhood. Paid in cash. So not only was she sleeping with him, she was laundering the lie through accessories. Imagine getting dressed in the morning wearing your affair around your neck. She even made me part of it. Asked me to drop her off at the salon. then texted Peter to pick her up 2 blocks away. I drove her to cheat on me, like some kind of chauffeured clown. The most pathetic part? I still kissed her goodbye. I even told her, "You look beautiful today." She smiled, said, "Thanks, baby," and went to go fuck my best friend. That's what betrayal is. It's not one big explosion. It's death by 1,000 errands. It's the lies told in yoga pants, the affection she recycled, the way she smiled at me and him and made us both believe we were the only ones in the room. She wasn't just cheating. She was performing, and I applauded the show. The truth wasn't hiding. It was right there, baked into every skipped kiss, every cold dinner, every extra long shower with the door locked. I just didn't want to see it. Because sometimes, loving someone means you willingly wear blindfolds. And sometimes, betrayal means they take your hand, guide you toward the edge, and smile while you walk straight off the cliff. You spend enough nights staring at your own ceiling, and eventually, the questions start to rot you from the inside. Why did she do it? It's not the sex. I've come to believe that. It's not the heat of the moment or the cliche of one thing led to another. That's just the costume betrayal wears. It's the convenience lie, the lazy explanation. But cheating, real, repeated cheating, comes from something deeper, uglier, quiet. I think some people cheat because they can't sit still with themselves. Ella, God, I loved her, always needed noise. Distraction. She couldn't be alone for more than 10 minutes without calling someone, scrolling something, shopping for nothing. She feared silence the way some people fear the dark. And silence is where truth lives. Stillness? That's where real love either strengthens or exposes its cracks. I think she cheated because the reflection in my eyes showed her something she didn't want to see. I loved her deeply, purely. But deep down, I think that scared her. Because real love requires responsibility. It's a mirror. And mirrors? They don't flatter. Cheaters often aren't searching for someone better. They're searching for someone easier. Someone who doesn't know their worst yet. Someone who doesn't expect them to grow. And Peter? He didn't love her. He loved the thrill of being wanted by someone who was already taken. He loved playing second fiddle and pretending it was a solo. He got to be the fun escape, not the daily reality. That's the trap. Cheating is selfish intimacy. It's dessert without dinner. And it rots you. There were signs. There always are. But we train ourselves not to see them. Like when she started guarding her phone like it was radioactive. Or when she stopped asking about my day, but got unusually curious about where I was and when I'd be home. That's the thing when someone cheats. They don't get colder. They get more involved. They get strategic, calculating. She'd call me baby more often, but with a kind of urgency, like she was rehearsing it. She'd overcompensate, cooking my favorite meals, initiating sex at random times, but her eyes weren't in it. She touched me like she was clocking in. You start to notice the rehearsed pauses, the two perfect explanations, the way they repeat the same sentence twice, hoping you won't look too closely. It's the performance of sincerity that cracks first. And the weird part? They get angry when you suspect. Not sad. Angry. Because deep down, they know. And now you know. And the lie? The illusion? It starts to rot under that shared awareness. People cheat because they want to feel something different. Not better, just different. It's rarely about you. It's about the mirror you hold up, the parts of themselves they hoped you'd never reflect back. And when they can't look in that mirror anymore, they look for a funhouse version elsewhere. One that distorts. One that flatters. One that lies. So now, when someone says they cheated on you, I don't say, yes. I say, she ran from herself. And I just happened to be holding the mirror. That's what betrayal is. It's not about the act. It's about who they become when they think you're not watching, and who they reveal themselves to be. When they think they can watch you break. And the hardest part? They never think they'll be caught. Because in their mind, love makes you blind. But it doesn't. Love just makes you slow to see. People think the worst part is the moment you find out. It's not. The worst part comes after, days, weeks, months later, when the dust settles and you're left sifting through the rubble, trying to figure out which shards used to be your life. After the truth broke like glass across the kitchen floor, we did what all broken couples do. We tried to act normal for a while. Ella cried. She apologized. A lot. She said it was a mistake. Then she said it didn't mean anything. Then she said, but it happened because I felt unseen. Funny how it went from meaningless to meaningful when she needed a reason to justify it. Peter, my so-called best friend, ghosted me. Like a damn teenager. Didn't return my calls. Didn't come by. Didn't even try to explain. The man who once toasted at my wedding disappeared like a roach when the lights came on. Eventually, I cornered him outside his gym. He looked older. Guilt does that to people. I asked him one question. Why? He said, I don't know, man. I thought we were just messing around. Messing around. With my wife. With my life. That's the luxury of being the side guy. No skin in the game. No furniture to divide. No photo albums to throw out. Just a cheap thrill and a quick exit. Ella and I tried therapy. 2 sessions. She cried in both. I sat there like a hollowed-out tree stump. Eventually, she said, maybe we both made mistakes. Yes, the shared blame. The poison of moral symmetry. She moved out 2 weeks later. Said she needed time to find herself. I helped her pack. Folded her clothes. Zipped her suitcase. She cried again. I didn't. We divorced quietly. No screaming matches. No fighting over the couch or the blender. Just a quiet signing of papers in a lawyer's office with a plant that was dying in the corner, like a metaphor someone would call too on the nose, but it felt about right to me. Peter tried to reach out a few months later. Sent me a long message full of apologies and the usual spiritual crap. I've grown. I'm working on myself. I hope we can talk again someday. I blocked his number. As for Ella, she spiraled for a while. I heard from a mutual friend that she moved in with some guy she met at a retreat. A yoga instructor. Of course. Apparently, she left him too. And me? I moved out of the house. Couldn't stand the way it echoed. I got a smaller place. 1 bedroom. No photos on the wall. Just space. I started running. Not from anything, just physically. It kept me sane. Helped me learn that healing doesn't come in epiphanies. It comes in routine. In the mundane. In laundry and eggs and brushing your teeth without wondering who else used the mirror. You don't come out of betrayal stronger. That's a lie people tell so they can sleep. You come out emptier. But if you're lucky, and I mean really lucky, you start to rebuild. Not back to who you were. To someone else. Someone who knows that trust isn't default. It's earned. Slowly. Painfully. Carefully. Ella once told me, you were too good to me. At the time, I thought it was a compliment. Now I know it was a warning. Because when someone tells you you're too good, what they mean is, they can't meet you there. And eventually, they'll try to drag you down to where they feel comfortable. She didn't ruin me, but she did teach me this. The people who swear they'd never hurt you are often the ones holding the sharpest knives, because they know exactly where to sink the blade. It's strange, the silence that follows catastrophe. People imagine betrayal as fire, loud, violent, consuming. But after the flames die out, what's left isn't chaos. It's quiet. Still. Too still. There's no dramatic closure. No violent swell. Life didn't end. It just shifted. I go to work. I eat dinner alone most nights. Sometimes I scroll too long. Sometimes I reread old messages, not to feel anything, but to remind myself that it was real. That I wasn't crazy. There's a photo of me and Ella still on my hard drive. I can't bring myself to delete it. We look happy. And maybe, in that exact moment, we were. Love, after all, doesn't always die a clean death. Sometimes it bleeds out slowly while everyone smiles for the camera. I've learned a few things. Not all wounds scar on the surface. Not all forgiveness is spoken aloud. And not all endings are clean enough to fit in a neat box with closure stamped on top. I don't hate her. Not anymore. That would mean I'm still holding on. I think she thought love was supposed to save her. And when it didn't, when I didn't, she ran. Not away from me, but from herself. Peter? I barely think about him now. He's not the villain in this story, just another man too small to see the damage he caused. The real villain was the silence we stopped filling, the words we stopped saying, the quiet she couldn't live with, and I mistook for peace. But I'm still here, breathing, learning, not bitter, not broken, just awake. And if nothing else, I'm grateful for that. You survived betrayal not by understanding it, but by refusing to become it.